Wasted money on cures. Forgot how to fix myself. They say that time is free. Then why is it so precious? Oh, I'll say memories in my head, like Polaroids on walls. They remind you to look ahead. Time is running out. Time is running out. Lately I've lost my track. I've sailed the deeper seas, hoping to find something to bring back better times. Oh, I'll say memories in my head, like Polaroids on walls. They remind you to look ahead. But time is running out. 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 Time is running. Time is running out. Time is running out. What if my best days are over? They can be over. They can't be over now. Time is running out. What if my best days are over? They can't be over now. Time is running out. Time is running out. Time is running out.
Here we go. Well, I'm ready. Oh, here's Graham. Graham's ready as well for our latest AQA level business live stream. And we've got something a little bit different today. We've written 20 brand new MCQs to help
We
you
have.
test where you're at with your revision across the whole specification. Obviously, we don't cover the whole specification, but a nice smorgasbord of topics, G.
Yeah. Very challenging questions as well. 'cause
They're
we've
not
just
easy,
gone
these.
through them. Yeah, they're not easy. They're not
Yep.
easy.
So if we're going to set a target for those joining us live or maybe watching on catch-up, what would your target be for this?
Well, I still believe that paper one's the most important paper. I think you need 80% of the MCQs right. So out of 20, that would be 16.
Okay.
So I'd be looking at, you really need to be getting 80% of the 15 MCQs right on paper one. So in this case, 20 MCQs, 15 on your paper. I'd be looking for 16 in this session.
Okay, so everyone keep their own score. Just whilst people are joining us live, a quick reminder, once we finish this session, we are packing our bags. Are you already packed, G? I am.
Not yet, no, because I am looking forward to the FA Cup semi-final of Forest versus Man City, and then I will be packing. And someone's asking what painting is on my wall. It's a French Champs-Élysées painting about a ball in.
Is it an original?
It's the original one on my wall. I don't know about the original.
Anyway, quick promo. We're down for AQA level business on Tuesday at Westfield, Stratford City, next to the Olympic Park, and then a couple of days later we're over at White City for AQA. So if you're able to join us next week, we've also got biology, economics, geography, politics, sociology, psychology. So take your pick. If you can join us, that will be fantastic. And now we missed this out, didn't we, in the EdXL session? So let's do a quick one just to get us warmed up for the MCQs. A big reveal. Have you seen this, G? Shall I take you through it?
Well, you know I haven't seen it, but we'll go through it. So the iconic logo was designed by a student for just $30. Wow.
Ah. No one's got it right so far, but that's an interesting. If it's an iconic logo, that sounds like good value.
Alexandra, please come and say hello in my city. That would be lovely. A global brand that spends heavily on sponsorship. Is it Apple?
We've not even got to clue 3. Unbelievable.
First prototypes made by pouring rubber into a waffle iron.
It's true. Yeah.
Wow. Clue number 4.
Don't look at the live chat, G, because you'll get the answer.
Originally called Blue Ribbon Sports. Oh, is it a biscuit? Blue Ribbon Biscuit. It's Nestle, isn't it? It's Nestle. Never uses the word sneakers. Why would anyone? Honestly, it's like soccer, isn't it? Why would anyone use the word sneakers? They're not sneakers, they're trainers. Never uses the word sneakers in UK promotional campaigns. I think it could be, it's Adidas. Oh, it's Nike. Nike.
Anyway, look,
Nike.
There we go. We got to clue 2 today. But we do know, don't we, from past experience, that as we do these live streams, as we get closer to the exam, the standard, the quality of the live audience, this gets beyond. So here we go. We've got 20 MCQs. We'll do them about a minute and a half each, G, or so. So it's about 30 minutes or so. Keep your own score. We'll take a rain check after question 10 to see how you're getting on. Now, Graham set you a target of 15, 16. I mean, just do as well as you can.
Yeah, 16. Obviously.
Put the answers into the live chat. And here's our first one. Shall I do the first one, G, or shall I do the first one?
You do the first one, yeah.
Okay, so we've got a business here that had gearing of 50% at the end of last year. This year, the business made a profit and it was all retained. So everything else remaining equal, what's the effect of the profit this year? Some combination of higher or lower gearing and higher or lower capital employed. So it started...
That's a tough question.
It is. Started with a gearing ratio of 50%, and then this year made a profit and it kept it all. So what is the effect on gearing and capital employed? What do we think?
So I'm just thinking if profit's retained, that's going to increase something.
Yep.
That
is a really hard question, but not for today's team.
Yeah.
Not obviously. Excuse me. Not everyone's putting the answer in the live chat. Lots of people are, but I would say that's phenomenal. I would say 95% have got that right. The answer is indeed B. So well done.
Answers.
So why is it lower gearing? Well, because don't forget the gearing percentage or the gearing ratio is non-current liabilities divided by capital employed, and capital employed will have gone up because we've retained all the profit that we made. So therefore, total equity would have gone up. Total equity is shareholders' funds. So profit, retained profit, and share capital. So therefore, the gearing would have fallen because we were told everything else is the same. But the bottom bit has gone up because the capital employed has gone up. So a really good start.
Great stuff.
Fantastic. Have a go at this one.
So who's 1-on-1 at the minute? So economies of scale occur when unit costs fall as output falls. Is that true or false? As a business sells a wider product range, it may benefit from economies of scope. Scope. So is statement 1 true or false? Is statement 2 true or false? Economies of scale occur when unit costs fall as output falls. As a business sells a wider product range, it may benefit from economies of scope. So I think that one is, lots of answers coming through the chat window there.
These questions are designed to be exam standard, aren't they, G? To be fair.
Definitely.
And I think none of them are easy. And you get 1 or 2 easy ones maybe in paper 1, but none of these are easy. Sam's keyboard is stuck, I think, isn't it?
Yeah, Sam, a regular, isn't he? We see him a lot, and I think it's David Hembridge here as well. Should we reveal the answer? It is indeed. It is C. So yes, economies of scale occur when unit costs fall as output increases, as scale increases. So that's true. So in this case, statement 1 is false. And yet, statement 2 is true. As a business sells a wider product range, it may benefit from economies of scope. It has more experience. It's producing several different products. So the fixed costs are spread out over more products. Therefore, that's a really good answer. Yeah.
I was going through economies of scope with a couple of my tutees at the weekend, on Friday, and we were talking about economies of scope. And I think the best example I came up with, I think, is Amazon, isn't it? Just the economies that they get from selling such a wide range of different types of product and service.
Because the
all
platform
under
stays the
Amazon
same, doesn't it?
banner.
The fixed cost of the platform doesn't change,
Yeah.
no matter how many products they sell on there. That's a great example of economies of scope.
Thank you very much. Right, here's question 3. So we've got some data here relating to product X. Spend a lot of time coming up with the names of products in these questions, and it's data relating to the price elasticity demand. It's got a coefficient of minus 0.5, and we're told that it currently sells 10,000 units per year. What would happen to sales revenue, or what would the sales revenue be if they increase the price by 5% to £21 per unit? So what would happen to sales revenue if they increase the price by 5% to £21 per unit? So we're going to have to apply our PED coefficient to work out what the impact on quantity demanded would be. So we currently sell 10,000 units. We're going to increase the price to £21 per unit, but we're given the PED coefficient.
Yes. I've worked it out myself here. I've worked it out. Yeah. Great question. Great question.
Now, let's look at the answers coming through. If the price, if the quantity sold hadn't changed at all, C would be right, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
But it is going to change, isn't it?
I don't get the answer that everyone else gets in the chat window, so I get what David. I get what David Herdman's got. Yeah. Now, obviously, everyone's gone for C. You know, David's gone for D. Sometimes those who follow the crowd go no further than the crowd. Some others going for D as well. That's a tough question, and again, it illustrates the importance of PED. So, JT Galaxy there, Bruce Smith. Yeah, I've gone for
Should we have a look?
That's a tough question. That
it is a tough one, but the answer is indeed D.
Yeah, I went for D.
Oh, that's a relief. So let's just talk through why it is. Well, we're told what the new selling price is. It's £21 per unit because the selling price has increased by 5%. But we're told that it has a PED coefficient of minus 0.5, which means that for every 1% change in price, an increase in price in this case, the quantity demanded will change by 0.5%. Therefore, a 5% increase in price will result in a 2.5% fall in quantity demanded. Therefore, we're not going to be selling 10,000 units. We're going to be selling, I think it's 9,750.
9,750 at £21 though.
Yep. So we get, we're selling 2.5% fewer units, but 5% bigger price. Therefore, sales revenue goes up to 204,750. So I'm glad we did that one because I think that's elicited.
And I just think a really interesting point here is if we just double check this, that actually, so increasing the price, although demand's fallen, has actually led to an increase in sales revenue of £4,750, which tells us that if a product is price inelastic, then increasing the price, although it will lead to a fall in quantity demanded, it will increase sales revenue. That's a great question.
That's showing application. If you increase the price, you get more per item, but we're selling fewer, aren't we? We're not going to sell 10,000. We're going to sell fewer. We're going to sell 2.5% fewer.
Yeah. And James Jaffa there is he's putting in capitals to illustrate the point even further. But well done, James. You are indeed correct.
Even better. Evie's given us the formula for working that one out. Good stuff.
What can you do, eh?
Well, I'm guessing that not everybody is on 3 out of 3 just from the live chat. Maybe just in the live chat, keep your score. Let's have a look at question 4. Do you want to do this one, G?
Yeah. Okay. So shareholders in company Z begin selling their shares because the business is expected to achieve much lower profits in the future. The short-term effect on company Z is most likely to be so it's a combination of lower share price and lower market capitalization, or higher share price and the subsequent effect on market cap. So market cap, a really, really important concept. I think it's in 3.2, I think.
Yep.
3.1, 3.2, very early on.
Yep.
So what do we think? So if the business is expected to achieve lower profits and shareholders start selling their shares, so we need to look at the implication on share price, don't we? If profits are forecast. So I would imagine, a high supply, low demand of shares. It's all about supply and demand, share price.
Yep.
And that would impact on market cap. So when share price has been examined previously, which it has been, it was noted in the examiner's report that a lot of students didn't make the link between supply and demand of shares. When supply is high and demand's low, a share price will fall. When supply is low, demand's high, share price will
Should we have a
increase.
look?
Yeah. So it is here, yes. So the share price will fall because the profits are expected to be lower, and there's an increase in supply of shares, therefore lower share price, and that will have an impact on market capitalisation, which will indeed be lower.
Yeah, because market capitalisation is share price times by the number of shares in issue. If the share price is lower, it has to be lower market capitalisation. So
Ashton's saying easy there, but it's only easy, Ashton, if you know the answer. It's only easy if you know the answer.
Talking of which, what about this one? Question
what
5. Now, this is your topic area, G. You do this one. This is your specialty.
Yeah. I think I'm down for 4, 5, 6, and 7. Yeah. So the leadership style in the business changes from democratic to autocratic, according to the Tannenbaum-Schmidt continuum. This would involve a change from joins to tells, consults to joins, sells to consults, tells to sells.
What a question that is.
It is a great question. So it is a continuum, remember, sliding scale, if you will. So Adebola, I've not got my classes on, so I'm struggling to read that. Is this on the Excel spec? No, you don't.
Well, the bottom bit isn't. Leadership styles are, but the Tannenbaum-Schmidt continuum isn't.
Tannenbaum-Schmidt style. Yeah. Tannenbaum-Schmidt style. Wow, some really, really quick answers here. Lots going for A. So is it joins to tells? Is it tells to sells? Is it sells to consults? Is it consults to joins? It's one of those, isn't it?
Certainly is.
Shall we reveal the answer?
Here it comes.
It is joins to tells. So I think it's moving from, is it right to left?
Yeah.
Yeah. So we're moving from democratic to autocratic, and some leaders may have to do that. If there's a crisis, maybe they have to move from a democratic management style or leadership style, to an autocratic leadership style. So great answers, great stuff.
Yep. So how are we getting on? That's 5 out of 20 so far. Let's do a rain check it maybe after question 10. Here's our next one, G.
Oh, I love this one. So data relating to the production of a business is shown in the table. If monthly fixed costs are 160,000, what is the unit cost? This is a great question. So we've got capacity utilization of 80%. We've got a capacity of 10,000 units per month. We've got a variable cost per unit of £40. What is the unit cost if the fixed costs are 160,000? So lots of stages in the calcs here. Lots of stages. What do we think? That's a great question. So I think we need to work out how many units the business produces.
Yep.
That's really important. Once we work that out, that unlocks the door for the other calcs. Yep. Some really, really quick working out here, mind.
Generally, really the calculations, if needed in the MCQ, is no more than 2 steps, isn't it? So
yeah. Ajmal's worked it out so quickly, he's typed it in 3 times. So lots of answers coming through. The majority going for C. That doesn't mean it's the right answer. What do we think? A couple of B's, but I think the majority going for C. So I think based on that, Jim, the business must be producing 8,000 units.
Yep, 80% of 10,000. Yep.
Yeah, and then we must have to multiply that by the variable cost per unit, 8,000 times 40. Then add the fixed cost of 160,000.
Yep.
Then divide by 8,000 again to get a unit cost of £60 per unit. Well done, everyone who got that. So for those who got slightly confused, so
just go through that again then, G.
Yeah, so 8,000 units are being produced. That's 80% of 10,000. So 8,000 units are being produced. Then we multiply the 8,000 by the £40 to get the total variable costs, 8,000 times £40. Then we add the 160,000 to get the total costs of producing 8,000 units. Then we divide by 8,000 to get the unit cost, which gives us £60 per unit. So if you got that, well done. Great stuff.
Okay. And question 7. I'll do this one, G, shall I? I'll do this one.
Why not?
It's been a while, hasn't it? So inventory control charts, and they're being used by a manufacturer. Let's call it manufacturer P. And the manufacturer wants to reduce the average quantity of inventory held. So which combination of items on the inventory control chart system would be the most effective way of doing that? Would it be to change have a higher or lower minimum stock level and a higher or lower reorder quantity? So the manufacturer wants to reduce the average quantity held. What's the best way, the most effective way of doing that? Wants to operate the business with less stock, lower quantity. David, Grace, Ashton, and Matilda, and Alfie, and lots of others have gone for the same answer, which is probably a good sign. So it is indeed A. Let's just explain why.
Sense.
So if we operate at a lower minimum stock level, that is the level at which we don't want stock to go below. So it's like the buffer stock level. And by allowing it to go lower, that should help reduce the average quantity we hold, because it'll be lower for longer. And also, the reorder quantity is the quantity that we order each time we reorder. So it's it's calculated as the difference between the maximum and minimum stock level. So if we order fewer units of inventory each time we order, that will also help us mean that we have less inventory or stock in the business. So it is indeed A. So well done.
Great stuff.
Question
yes,
80.
I'll do this one. So product M, we are pulling out all the stuff for the names of the products in your mind. ChatGPT's been working overtime with these names. Product M has an income elasticity of demand coefficient of plus 1.4. If incomes rise by 5%, the quantity demanded of product M will fall by 7%, increase by 7%, fall by 20%, increase by 20%.
Good question, isn't it? Because you've got to understand PED and YED, and this is YED.
You've got to understand it, and especially the plus and minus with regards to YED. So an income elasticity demand coefficient of plus 1.4. I think that's telling me that's a luxury good if the coefficient is greater than 1. If incomes rise by 5%, the quantity demanded of product M will it fall by 7, increase by 7, fall by 20, increase by 20. All of those were percentages. And amazingly, I think the majority have gone for a couple of Ds. A couple of Ds, to be fair. The majority of going for B. Should we find out? Yeah, so it's plus, which tells us when incomes rise, the quantity demanded will increase.
Yep.
5 times the 1.4 is 7%. So it's a luxury good because the increase in quantity demanded is greater than the increase in income. So remember, plus and minus on YED is so important. If it's a minus, that tells us it's an inferior good, that when incomes rise, quantity demanded falls. And we always use the same example for inferior goods, don't we?
Bromwell's tomato ketchup.
Bromwell's tomato ketchup is an inferior good. So well done, everyone. If you are unsure of PED and YED, please, we did a live stream last week. It's on our YouTube channel. Just watch it on replay. We did, I think, 45 minutes on PED and YED. It's such a fundamentally important topic. Great stuff.
Well done. And also, thanks for everybody in the live chat putting the actual calculation to help.
So did we see where we were with everyone in terms of?
We're not to question 10 yet, are we? We're going to do it. We're going to do scores on the doors at question 10.
At 10, okay.
So before we get there, G, let's do question 9. It's one of our 2-statement questions. So we've got a couple of statements about Porter, Michael Porter.
Oh, yeah.
So according to Porter's 5 forces model, an increase in the bargaining power of buyers will increase rivalry in an industry. True or false? And then statement 2, according to Porter's generic strategies, a strategy of differentiation can be achieved through branding. So some combination of true and false for
that was a hard
each of those statements. So good old Michael Porter, still with us, 72 years old, I think now.
He's got 2 brains, Michael Porter.
Has, yeah.
2 brains.
He's the godfather to one of my friends.
Really?
Both boys are one of my friends. Yeah.
Really?
Very, very clever guy. Says my friend. So does an increase in the bargaining of buyers increase rivalry? And can you achieve differentiation through branding? Emma, Ollie, and David and others have gone for A. Not everyone's gone for A, though. We've got some C's in there.
Yeah, I think A and C. I think it's split between A and C, isn't it? That is a tough question, that, depending on how you interpret. I think statement 1 is throwing a lot of people out.
It is. Let's have a look. It is A. Let's just go through why that is. So don't forget, in Porter's 5 forces model, you have the 4 forces around the outside, and the middle, the 5th force, is the extent of rivalry in an industry. And what basically Porter's 5 forces model says, as the forces on the outside get bigger, get stronger, that increases rivalry and therefore reduces profits in an industry. Well, if buyers have more power, that means that that makes it harder to make profits. That increases the rivalry in an industry. And yet, differentiation, maybe an easier one. Yep, differentiation can be achieved through lots of different ways, but branding is definitely one of them, isn't it? To help differentiate your product in the eyes of consumers. So, yeah, definitely differentiation can be, not exclusively, but it can be achieved through branding. So it was indeed A. One more question, G, then we'll do a score check. Do you want to do this one?
Okay. Yeah, I'll do this one. So managers at a business adopt a hard approach to HRM or human resource management. Which one of the following would most likely be a feature of this approach? Widespread use of team working, flexible work arrangements, high involvement of staff in decision making, minimal spend on staff development. I suppose it comes down to, Jim, whether managers see staff or employees see staff as a cost or an asset.
Exactly.
Really. So that's the difference, isn't it? If you see staff as an asset, soft. If you see them as a cost, hard. So which one of those? And I think if you get in that mindset, hard and soft HRM just becomes really, really easy to understand. Are staff an asset? Are they a cost? What do we think?
And I think Taylor, isn't it? Taylor's associated with a hard approach. To
staff need to be staff
management.
Are inherently lazy and inherently lazy. You need to be motivated by money. So I think a majority going for D here. Yeah,
Alexandra, who's joining us at White City next Thursday, we're told.
We'll be there.
Hopefully, having put your comment on the screen, Alexandra, the answer is D. Let's have a look. It is.
Yeah, it is indeed. So minimal. So reducing spend on staff development would be associated with a more harder approach because staff aren't seen as an asset, more of a cost. Great stuff.
Now, so we've got
scores on the doors.
Scores on the doors. Put your score in so far. Graham set you that. I think a stretch target of 16 out of 20. I think these are really hard questions. So I'd be happy to get 10. But
so we'd want 8, really, wouldn't we, at this stage, wouldn't we? We'd want 8 at this stage, really.
Yeah, I mean, if you got 6 or 7, there's time to recover. I think the questions in the second half are slightly easier.
No, but I suppose it's like the Premier League, isn't it? Where are we at Christmas? So we've got 8 out of 10. So lots of 9 7s. Some brilliant, great stuff. 10 out of 10. JT Galaxy 10 out of 10. Wow, I don't think even I'm on 10 out of 10. That's great stuff. I don't think I even am.
Well done for keeping score. And let's keep going, shall we? Here's question 11. So, at which stage of the product life cycle are profits likely to be highest? And you've got a choice of 4.
Yeah.
It's a simple question. It's simple as in a short question, but it's not necessarily
introduction, growth, maturity, decline. Yeah. So I think it's a product life cycle as well. You have to look at when profits are highest and also look at cash flow at the different stages as well. Yeah. Cash flow and profits. That's the real under the skin of product life cycle. How would cash flow be? How would profits be at each different stage?
DP has come with a fantastic explanation for why it is the answer it is. I love that.
Yeah.
We've not foxed the audience with this one. Not at all.
Not at all.
It is C, maturity. Yeah. If you think about the chart there, it's where sales are at their maximum. But it's also where marketing costs and other costs of product development are at their lowest, because you've achieved probably a high market share. Therefore, you're not spending anywhere near as much. Your chances are that your margins are at their highest. It's a mature market, and therefore it's also cash flows as well. So it is indeed maturity. Good stuff. Question 11.
Okay, so statement 1, reducing trade receivables should result in lower cash inflows. True or false? Increasing trade payables should result in higher cash inflows. Is that true or false? So reducing trade receivables and increasing trade payables, what impact will that have on cash inflows? I'm just going to work through that one myself.
So lower trade receivables days, that's normally good news, isn't it? That means that customers are taking less time to pay us on average.
Yeah. And payables, so increasing payables mean you're paying quicker.
Taking longer to pay.
Pay suppliers. So trade payables is how often you pay your suppliers.
Yeah.
So increasing trade payables means you are.
But it's not inflows, though, is it? Anyway, we'll see what people say in the answers. Let's have a look at the answer. It is indeed D. So I can see why people have said it might be C, but it's not cash inflows that are associated with trade payables. It's cash outflows.
Close, yeah.
So, yeah, statement 1 is false. Lower trade receivables days should result in higher cash inflows. By reducing the amount of time we allow customers to pay, our inflows will be higher. Increasing trade payables days doesn't have any impact on inflows. It has an impact on outflows, not inflows. So cash outflows will actually be lower, won't they, initially? So false and false. Question 13. Who wants to... You or me, Gio, on this one? I think it's a tough one.
You can do this one, Jim.
Okay. So
I'll pass the baton to you on this one.
Baton always gets passed whenever the word variance appears. So,
yeah, I'm just going to work it out myself for you as well.
Here we go. So this year, a number of people annoyed with themselves on question 12 for not reading statement 2, the words in there correctly. But anyway, keep going. So this year, a favourable profit variance of 125,000 and an adverse cost variance of £40,000. So what was the revenue variance this year? So don't forget there are 3 variances, aren't there? Sales revenue variance or revenue variance, our cost variance, and the resulting profit variance.
That's a difficult question, that. Difficult question.
So our profit was favourable, 125,000 more than expected. But our costs were 40,000 higher than expected. So what was the revenue variance? Number of people, actually, most people are sort of going for either A or C on this one. What do we think? Tough question.
Tough question.
Let's go through the answer, shall we? It is indeed A. It's A. 165,000 favourable, which means our sales were 165,000 more than expected. Now, that would normally translate into the same number for profit, wouldn't it? Profit variance.
Yeah.
However, the bad news was that our costs were 40,000 higher than expected. Therefore, our profit was only 125,000 more than expected. So our sales revenue variance was favourable. Costs, however, were adverse. Therefore, we didn't quite make 165,000 more profit because our costs were higher. That is a tough question.
That's a great question.
Yeah. We've got 6 more to go. Here's number 14G.
Okay, so a business compares its unit costs, customer service performance, and sales revenue with competitors in its market. This is an example of benchmarking, entrepreneurship, Kaizen, or quality assurance. A, B, C, or D. So I remember B being examined a few times and not very well, to be fair. So a business compares its unit costs, customer service performance, and sales revenue with competitors in its market. This is an example of benchmarking, entrepreneurship, Kaizen, or quality assurance. What do we think? So I think some... Well, Ashton's saying this is the easiest question yet, but it's only easy if you know those 4 terms, Ashton, isn't it, really? And also, you have to have a balance. You have to have a balance of questions, and, it's only easy if you know the answer.
I think on balance, these 20 are slightly harder than you get in paper 1. I think. Slightly harder. Not far off. Slightly harder. Anyway.
So I think it's... anyway, should we reveal the answer? It is benchmarking. So benchmarking your performance against, other businesses in terms of, things like unit cost, service performance, competitors. Well done. Can we just take a second look at entrepreneurship as well? So entrepreneurship is being entrepreneurial within a business. So again, often students get confused with that term. So when that was examined a few years ago, I think a lot of students, Jim, thought entrepreneurship was internship, part of recruitment, which it isn't. So just so just make sure you know all your key terms. Excuse me.
Benchmarking. It's the comparison, isn't it? Not always on costs. Often associated with cost. It can be any meaningful measure of performance that you want to compare yourself, either within firms in the same industry or potentially other industries.
Yeah.
So there we go. We have got 6 left because 15 leaves us 5 after this, doesn't it? So 2 statements
I'll do
here.
this one. I'll do this one as well, Jim. Yes, I'll do this one as well. So, the Bank of England increases interest rates. This is an example of fiscal policy, true or false. The US government imposes higher tariffs on imports. This is an example of protectionism. And, statement 2, that might be happening at the minute. It's certainly a lot in the news about it, isn't it? So what do we think? Statement 1, is that true or false? Statement 2, is that true or false? What do we think? Lots going for C. So is interest rates related to fiscal policy? Is the high tariffs related to protectionism? What do we think? So Alexandra Stembridge there, giving a little bit of context with regards to why the answer may be C. Shall we reveal the answer?
We're going to have to make the questions harder for White City, I think.
We do. So it is indeed C, yeah. So it's not fiscal policy. You were dead right. It's monetary policy. And yeah, it is true. So in higher tariffs, this is an example of protectionism, like quotas, government subsidies, things like tariffs, things like that, all related to protectionism and open trade. Great answers, everyone.
Yeah, well done. So
should we do the scores on the doors at 15, do you think?
I think we should, yeah.
Let's do the scores on the doors at 15. Where are we, do we think? So who's in the Champions League place? Who's in the Europa League place? Who's getting relegated? So what do we think? So someone 11? 11 out of 15 is amazing. That's incredible. Well done, Darcy. So Alfie's on 13. Caitlin, Daily Insights. Great stuff. So someone's on 16 out of 15. Am I reading that right? No, 15 out of 15.
You're reading it. It's performance beyond belief.
All right, okay, yeah. My spectacles, I thought. I really do need them now. We're supposed to get 16 out of 15. So the majority are getting, the 10s, 11s, which is really good. Someone's on 15 and a half. I don't understand that one, but there we go. So we're on to the last 16, last 5 now, aren't we?
So question 16, last 5, yeah. So one of the following, or one of those listed, is an example of contingency planning. Is it a plan for either A, B, C, or D? Contingency planning, crisis management, the 2 last topics in the specification in Unit 3.10. 4. Often taught very briefly, sometimes not at all.
25 mark all days. 25 markers all over these. 25 markers all day long.
Yep.
And in fact, I think contingency planning was a recent 25 marker about internal and external factors, I think. Recently.
Yeah.
What do we
think? Lots of... once again, somebody's saying that, once again, it's poor from Graham and I. It's far too easy, is this question. Well, tell you what.
If you know the answer, isn't it?
Yeah. Should we have a look?
Yes.
B. So, contingency planning is planning for when things might go wrong, basically. Crisis management is what do you do when things go wrong.
Exactly.
So, contingency planning is all about trying to make it, and there's an opportunity cost with contingency planning. So you shouldn't spend all your time doing it or planning for things that maybe not that important. However, a failure of information systems, like, for example, such as M&S right now, can't currently buy online, can't use Apple Pay in the stores and lots of other things, which is bad news for us next week, G, because since we buy our sandwiches at Westfield from M&S.
We do.
So we'll have to take some cash or a card. But contingency planning that will be a big issue, wouldn't it? What would you plan for how to deal with a failure of information systems? Whereas all the other 3, you don't contingency plan for those. As the Bean Boy says, contingency planning is planning for something undesirable but predictable, stuff that could go wrong. Therefore, you can predict it. Therefore, you do something to plan for it. Ashton's very kindly agreed to buy our sandwiches from M&S when he's there at either White City or Stratford. That's great news. Now that Ashton's buying, I think we'll add a few more things to the shopping basket, G.
Definitely.
Question 17, over to you, mate.
I'll say financial information about a business this year is shown in the table. Calculate the sales revenue for this year. So you've got the cost of sales there. You've got the gross profit margin. Can you work out the sales revenue? What is it?
Okay, so I know that gross profit is revenue less cost of sales.
Yeah. Difficult question, this. Difficult question.
And the gross profit margin is 60%. So that must mean that revenues are going to be more than cost of sales, aren't they? They must be.
Has to be.
A lot more. More than double. More than double. So actually you can work it out. Knowing that, you can actually work the answer out. Good question, though.
Yeah, so I'm just working out here. Yeah. It's a difficult question, that.
I think the answer is. I think their answer is right, actually.
Shall we reveal the answer?
Yeah, let's do it.
Right, you might have to talk us through this one, then, Jim.
Yeah, I think it's D, because we're looking for a.
Well, it is.
It is, yeah. So cost of sales is 40%, isn't it, of revenue? Therefore, actually, it's 500,000 divided by 0.4.
That's exactly what it is. So if you work it out backwards, 1,250,000 of that sales revenue. If you deduct the cost of sales, you get your gross profit.
Yep.
Then divide that number by your sales revenue, you give 60%. That's exactly how you work it out. You work backwards.
You work backwards.
You work backwards.
So cost of sales, 500,000 is 40% of gross revenue.
Yeah.
Therefore, 500,000 divided by 40%. Yeah. And we know it's 40% because the gross profit margin is 60%. Therefore, cost of sales must be 40% of sales revenue.
Yeah. So how I worked it out was 500,000 divided by 0.4.
Yep.
To get 1,250,000. Then I double checked that by minusing the 500,000.
Yep.
Which got me the gross profit, and then dividing that by the 1,250,000 to get 6%. That's how I worked it out.
That is a good question without having thought too much about it, because it's a similar question to one's been calculated before.
You say you've got to do 3 or 4 steps. So 500,000 divided by 0.4 gives you 1,250,000.
Yep.
Then you can double check that by deducting the 500,000 and give you 750,000 gross profit.
Yeah.
750,000 divided by 1.25 million times 100 is 60%.
Yeah,
that's how. Well, we know it's 60% because the gross profit margin is 60, so the remainder must be 40%. So that's how you divide that by. So you do get a lot of questions like this, Jim, in AQA, especially some of the 4-mark questions or the 5-6-mark questions in paper 1. So that's how I worked it out. Yeah,
that was probably the toughest question of the 20. There might be some tougher ones coming up. I'll do this one, G. So in 2015, electric car maker Tesla entered the energy storage market with the launch of its Powerwall battery system. Now, according to Ansoff, what would that be? Is it diversification? Is it market development? Is it market penetration or product development? So you can always work these out. It's a very popular exam style question. It's an MCQ. And you can always work it out from the information given in the STEM. Either A, B, C, or D. We've got all bases covered there in terms of the Ansoff matrix.
Tesla's definitely a business to watch in a minute in terms of its share price and things like that, isn't it? In terms of definitely.
Yeah. So what do we think? Classic example of this, JT and others.
You know, I thought that was a really hard question. A hard question, but a lot of students are doing really, really well, aren't they?
Yeah. Let's have a look. It is indeed, as Alexandra and others and JT have pointed out, it's A. It's diversification, although specifically related diversification, isn't it? But it is diversification because it's a new product. So the home battery system is different from an electric car. So we know it's not an existing product, and we know it's not an existing market because we are told that Tesla entered the market. Therefore, that must be, and for Tesla, must have been a new market. Therefore, it is a new market, and it's a new product. Therefore, according to Ansoff, that's diversification. Now, of course, it's related to diversification. It's connected with energy. It's connected with energy storage, or it's connected with energy, but it isn't the same market and it isn't the same product.
I think that's a really important thing, Jim, that a lot of students don't recognise it. It's a sliding scale of risk. So Ansoff would argue that diversification is the greatest risk. However, in this case, it is risky, but it's less risky because it's related to the industry they're already sort of operating in. So related diversification.
Just P numbers, number of others just explaining it. It's a new product, different products, not an existing product into a new market. Therefore, that is diversification. And I think it's been quite a successful strategy. So diversification, it is riskier, but that doesn't necessarily mean it won't be very successful for businesses. So we've got two left.
Where we are, do we think? Where we are with 18 questions. So we got the last 2 questions.
Here we go.
Who is on? So what do we think? Let's go.
So the last 2 questions, I think, are both based on the same data. So do you want to do this one, G, or shall I do this one?
I'm going to do this one. According to the break-even chart, what profit is being earned at output of 25,000 units? So can we interpret the break-even chart? So you can see the fixed costs, you can see the total costs, you can see the total revenue there. What is it? Can we interpret the break-even chart and work it out? I think I'm just going to have another go at this myself, just to double check.
Evie's pleased that the break-even chart has made its appearance. It could have been worse, Evie. It could have been a critical path diagram.
So do we understand all the different elements? So we've got TR, total revenue, TC, total costs, VC, total variable costs, FC, fixed costs. What do we think? So we're looking at 25,000 output, and I think the majority of students are getting it right, to be fair.
Mm-hmm.
So brilliant work, everyone. Very, very quick. Shall we reveal the answer? Yeah. It is indeed. It is 160,000. So we can see there 500,000 revenue, total revenue 500,000, total cost 340,000.
Yep.
500,000 minus 340,000 is indeed 160,000.
So we had to interpret the chart, didn't we? Pick the correct lines. Yeah. Total revenue. That's total costs. That must be profit. There's nothing else to calculate.
Yeah. And remember, your total cost line will always start at the bottom of the fixed cost line. Always. Great stuff.
Yep. And last question for today's session. It's been a long session, but hopefully useful. It's using the same information. But according to the break-even chart, what would happen to profit if fixed costs increased by 20%? So would it fall or rise? And by how much? So using the information in the chart there, what would happen to profit if fixed costs increased by 20%? So we need to interpret the data from the chart, find the right number, apply a percentage change, and as they say around here, I don't know whether they say where you are, G, Bob's your uncle is the phrase. I'm not sure whether they say that. And is there an equivalent phrase in Sunderland?
Geordie's your uncle.
So lots of people, Grace, Ashton's been on fire today, to be fair. Lots of others, JT and others. The Bean Boy making the point that if fixed costs increase, profits can't rise. So therefore, we're left with A or B, I guess, under that logic. Alfie and others saying it's A. Let's have a look. It is indeed A. Yeah, fall by 16,000. So our fixed costs were 80,000.
Yeah.
Now, nothing else changes if it's no longer 80,000, but it's 20% higher. That's 16,000 higher. Therefore, profits will fall by the increase in fixed costs. In this case, it's 16,000. So fixed costs will rise to £96,000, won't they? If everything else stays the same, our profit, and that will increase our total cost line. Because as Graham said, the total cost line TC starts from fixed costs.
Yeah, exactly. So that'll increase total costs. Exactly. Because fixed costs will move up. So if our total costs will move up. Yeah. So it's important to spend time interpreting break-even charts. Jim, I think I think we should just spend a couple of minutes getting the scores on the door, shouldn't we?
We should. Also, these have not been easy questions. So if you sat there thinking I'm a little bit maybe demotivated or a little bit unsettled by that, these were not meant to be easy. we're trying to stretch and challenge and cover as many bases as possible. So hopefully in the real thing in paper 1, you might get maybe 1 or 2 or 3 slightly easier questions. So don't get too worried if your score isn't right at the top of those who are posting in the live chat. How are we getting on the live chat? Who have you seen, G? Bruce,
so
18.
yeah, so 14 upwards really, which is great stuff, you know. And even if you haven't got 14, if you've got lower, you know, you've had a go, and like you say, you know, you can only keep trying, keep practicing.
Yep.
We've got May the 14th, I believe, is the exams. We've got 3 weeks.
Yeah.
Really? Yeah, three, just over 3 weeks. Lots of time. Lots of time.
Good stuff. Well done. We've got lots more live sessions lined up once we get our grade booster workshops out of the way. So we're down to London on the train tomorrow morning, tomorrow lunchtime. Hopefully, if you are joining us in London next week, it'd be great to come and see you. And we know Alexandra's coming to White City. Maybe some people coming to Stratford. Do come along and say hello. We'll be there all 4 days. Spread the word for the live streams. We'll be back on the horse with the live streams once we've got next week out of the way as we run up to paper 1 and beyond. G, any words before we sign off?
No, just well done everyone for joining us on a Sunday. Few comments there about what do we think of the Ben fight, the Eubank fight. Well, you know, it is what it is, isn't it? And you know, the best man won. So so well done for everyone. You know, they were hard questions, weren't they? They were hard questions. Yeah, we covered a lot there. So that's another 45 minutes in the revision bank, locked in, and you've revised a lot of stuff there. So well done for that. And we'll look forward to seeing you on the next live stream. Look out for it. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel and keep revising, keep going. Well done, everyone. Cheers, G. Cheers now.